Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to our live on YouTube. We're excited to have this live week from the Franciscan School of Theology across all of our channels to reach all of our audiences. And I am really excited for today's live because I have two special guests today, and that is Mitchelle Greenlee, and then also Miss Christine Avella. I just want to say welcome and thank you for joining us. And we look forward to a really rich communication. And our topic today is really going along with the joy of the Franciscan charism and what's new at FST, and also bringing FST together. And so across all channels, across all of our friends of FST. So again, welcome, Mitchelle. Welcome, Christine. And Mitchelle, if you wouldn't mind, take a moment, introduce yourself. Tell us what you do at FST.
I'm happy to do so. Hi, everyone. My name is Mitchelle. And as Gigi said, I work in FST. I'm the development coordinator. Now, I don't know about you, but even when I read that in the title of the job description, I'm like, what am I going to develop? What I get to develop is relationships, which is really a Franciscan thing to do anyway, is just develop relationships with people who are interested in being part of the community, whether as alumni, as community members, from parishes, from all over the world, and finding different ways to engage those community members in our community and develop and foster that relationship. Making sure that once you've graduated from FST, or if you've learned the idea of what Franciscans are about, and you want to stay engaged and you want to stay in contact, it's my role to help you find ways to do that, whether it be listening to lectures, reading newsletters, hearing updates on book releases, getting job descriptions sent to you, whatever the case may be. That's kind of where my main time is spent, of course, in addition to other behind the scenes work of data entry and website design, and the stuff that nobody wants to talk about. That's not fun.
Yeah. Well, it is fun because it still connects all of FST. So we are truly grateful for you for doing that, because that helps everyone find FST. So thank you. And Christine, because this is our first time going live as a trio on YouTube, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do for FST?
Yes, thank you, Gigi, and thank you, Mitchelle, for joining us. I'm Christine Avella. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions and Recruitment with Franciscan School of Theology. So my role is to help you to see what the Franciscan School of Theology is all about, to really walk with you during that discernment process. When you hear that call to deeper studies in theology, what will that look like? And what degrees do we offer? Which one of the degrees would be the right degree for you, for your interest, your skill set, and also, what it is that you want to do. So I will walk with you through the application process, enrollment process, and eventually the financial aid process. So I really, as Mitchelle mentioned, that developing of relationship, that's very much who we're about. And so I get to be that part of your journey.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. And I am Gigi Betancourt. I am the marketing coordinator for FST. So I bring together like these wonderful women before us today. So, and where we can connect and talk and grow our audience against all of our channels. And really just, again, it's about spreading the word. It's helping individuals find the Franciscan School of Theology and then finding their joy. So that is our event today, is find true and perfect joy, and how we do so is all of the things that we have at FST within development department, within the admissions department or recruitment department, and it's about bringing information out to the world. And so we have wonderful channels like YouTube and our other social channels that we also promote on as well. And it's about connection. So again, I thank you both today, and we're just gonna hop right into it because I just like going right in. Yes, and so I wanted to kind of talk about our YouTube channel. And the thing about our YouTube channel is we really look at our lectures, right? And so like we have our lectures now on YouTube, which first and foremost, congratulations, Mitchelle, because that's amazing.
Yes, definitely.
Being able to provide that content and being able to help individuals and so they can see us on lectures, because before it was an in-person event. So you now brought it to the world, and we appreciate that. So talk to us about the lectures and, you know, how that goes, and bringing your topics and your guest speakers, and tell us a little bit about the Franciscan Lectures.
Certainly. I'll start from the back end, the beginning, before it even thinks about getting itself onto YouTube. It really starts with our amazing Franciscan friars, the professors who have chosen this form of Catholicism, of spreading knowledge of the Franciscan history and tradition and its vibrancy and what it's about and how it then interrelates with everything in today's culture. What does that mean now? How do you bring 1209 to 2021 and beyond, and what that means for the community, individuals, society, and so forth. And so there's just a huge, broad range of topics. And luckily, Franciscans are incredibly humble, yet they're also willing to share what they learned. There's no holding back. There's no, I'm going to keep this research to myself so I can formulate the best novel there ever was. Like, they're sharing like mad. And so these Franciscan priests and friars and brothers and sisters and theologians and lay people and chaplains, all this information that they're finding, they're bringing together in different ways and in different communities. Luckily, those communities are pretty interconnected with one another. And so we have very fortunate opportunity that the presidents that we have had at FST, the Franciscan School of Theology, are very integral in that community. And so they know everybody. They know everybody. So
that's kind of scary, Michelle.
Right? And so they're calling up their buddies that have given great lectures over in DC and in Maine and Indiana, and this person taught in Spain and this person taught in Brazil, and just all over the world, and saying, hey, want to share some of that info over here? I have a good audience for you. They're like, yeah, sign me up. 7 p.m. Pacific time. Sure. You realize that's like 1 a.m. my time, whatever. They're all signing up. And so we find a date that works for them. They then scrounge through all of their resources of information to find a topic that they think is most prevalent. They look at our audience and think of what are the people that are looking at those videos wanting to hear about. The latest take on Fertitatelli, the latest take on culture, environment, family life, you name it. They've already hit a variety of topics. And by the way, if you go to our website, FST.edu, underneath development, the educational class of professional development and personal enrichment, there's a listing of all the different lectures that we've already had within this series. And so you can look through that list, or you can just go to our YouTube, because you're at YouTube now. You can go to the YouTube page and scroll down, and it has all the lectures. The lectures themselves, if you choose to register for them and watch them live, you do get a little added benefit, which some of our YouTube viewers that I know only watch it once it gets posted may not be aware of. And that is, you can attend a Q&A. Yes, you can attend a question and answer period at 8 p.m. at night. With Franciscan friars that are writing these books that we're all reading.
Right.
And so we have one coming up, as a matter of fact. Let me reach down here. One of our latest books by Father Joe Kenichi. He wrote this. It took him 10 years.
Okay, so this is hot off the press, though.
This
Michelle.
is literally hot off. Like, we haven't even had the book
Very
launch
exciting.
yet. This is super hot off the press. And he's going to be doing a lecture that we will then record and put on the YouTube. But why wait for that? You can watch it live and talk to him about content in his book and his thoughts. And that's incredibly relevant. It's the 1950s to present, and how the council worked during that time frame, and what's that shaping now? What led us to the civil rights movement and post, and how that affects the Catholic Church in the U.S. Like, it's pretty impressive and important stuff. And you get to talk to the authors about what it is that they're talking about. And I kind of go through the questions with them as they're coming in. And there's not a question that they haven't answered, that they haven't gone, ooh, that's a little tough. I'm next. Like, all of them are more than happy to have these very vulnerable, engaging, and authentic conversations with the people who are attending these lectures live. And then what I do is then I record them, obviously. I edit them to take out all the, hey, this is how you connect your microphone stuff, and the, oh wait, I think my mute's off. Is everybody on? Get rid of all that stuff. Not deleting any of the content, but we don't include the Q&A because it just makes it too long. And so we take the 40-minute video itself and post it up to YouTube, and you can watch those. But that's not the only thing on our YouTube channel. We also have opportunities to see previously recorded videos that I've been able to go through our archives and refurbish, bring them up to speed, so to speak, put a nice little intro on them. And those, like, we had a great Genesis series during the Christmas break when people were like, yeah, I don't want to do a lecture. I'm kind of busy, Christ born, all that stuff going on. And so the Genesis series played during that time period. We also have other lectures that, since we're on the University of San Diego campus, we have lots of great joint opportunities where we're now filming those lectures together. And those will also go on our website. Carol Constance, who is the chancellor for the San Diego Community College District System.
Yes.
She did something in conjunction with us, and we filmed that, and that's on our website. And so and I could go on and on. You could look at our website. There's lots of stuff there.
You have Bishop McElroy.
Yep, the bishop's on there. And pretty soon we're going to have Ilia Delio is going to be on there. Like, really some big names in the Franciscan community and in the Catholic community, for that matter.
Right. Well, that's one thing to note, Michelle, is that definitely we have all of our friars, and you've just done such an amazing job of showcasing. They're all published authors, so showcasing their work. But also we have amazing lay faculty, and even we have a couple of graduates, alums from our school, who have given presentations. For example, Dr. Donna Foley, who got her master's in theological studies, she just had a lecture with us, and you were able to record that and put that out for everybody. And Margaret McCahill, Dr. Margaret McCahill, who's a medical doctor, I believe psychology as well, and she also has the master's in theological studies. Just an amazing woman, being able to talk and address the medical ethics and issues of our concern today. But Sister Mary Beth Ingham, you really have opened an avenue that just Gigi and I heard constantly we were in need of, constantly, because all of our lectures were campus-based. So if you didn't live within driving radius and you weren't comfortable being out at night, these were not accessible to you.
Right.
So we're really excited, because in the short time relatively that you've been here, basically the COVID window, you've been with us, you came like a week before COVID hit, something like that. So you poor thing. But in this window of, oh my gosh, now what? You've opened up this platform on social media where we are able to provide the brilliance theologically, historically, philosophically, and in Dr. Maureen Day, really applicable in your family, what's going on to anybody. So I am constantly, when people call and graduate studies aren't necessarily in their future, maybe they're not qualified, or they're just not, they have several degrees and they're retiring and not wanting to get that deep again. I'm pushing them right to your YouTube channel, because the content there is exciting and you're constantly updating.
Yes. Well, you see the updates.
Well, and really it's helping individuals see themselves after FST. And I think that is one of the crucial pieces of being able to take our lectures and being like, okay, I can see myself alongside helping in this mission on field. And it's like, what am I going to do with my degree after FST? And it's helping individuals find that path. And it's like, so that is remarkable in itself, of like being able to have this platform. And that it's beautiful about YouTube and being able to share this with really the world, because I mean, I see, Mitchelle, people coming in from not just within the United States, it's everywhere. And so, and like our live yesterday, it's like now we have, we launched our new, program with Dr. Darlene Prides, like letting us know about the Franciscan theology degree that they can obtain online. So
it's really rather amazing that reach that is had. And obviously some of that came because of COVID, that people they couldn't go out. They couldn't make those connections, those vital opportunities to be with other people in a common theory and a common thought. And this became that opportunity. And what's been fascinating to me is how we're divergent from it, the opportunities that have grown out of it. Because now we have small group sessions that are popping up in other parts. In Huntington Beach, where they recently had the group of their Franciscans had moved, and so they were missing that component. And because of the lecture series, they realized how easy this could be to facilitate in their own area. And so you're absolutely right. It's not just about the friars. It's about seeing also where the people can go. Dr. Donna Foley is an excellent example, as someone who just recently finished her PhD program. And in talking with her, that certainly wasn't something that she saw in her future. But having been around the community and seeing the different things that she could apply her skills and knowledge to, it opened a whole new world for her. And I think that's where the diversity in these lectures really comes into play. To see Mary Bethanian, you brought up a great idea with her unique take on art and how art is impacting so many parts of the world and legislation. You can see that in her lecture. Dr. Darlene Prides has an amazing reach in lots of different areas and has a very large Canadian following. And so we have much people that watch us from Canada. There's some people that watch from Dublin.
She is very well known for her, even though she's a historian, she is so in touch with the being present to the person in front of you. And she has a great, in fact, I believe you've done lectures with her on this, on the presence, the spirituality of presence, or the spirituality of dying in death, and just really understanding how are we present to the person in front of us despite all the distractions of the world. So there's something for everybody.
Oh, and that reminds me, don't ask how this reminds me, it's completely off topic, but another thing that I were able to do that we couldn't do live is people like Father Armstrong, who is completely retired, a brilliant man, has written tons of books, is a world-renowned doctor within his own from his own university, and he can't get out anymore. He's older. He's one of our rich resources that we're not going to have on our planet much longer. And he had no problem. We did a little bit of technical help, but he had no problem getting on Zoom and doing the video, answering the Q&A, and then we have that recorded. There's so many of our presenters that they just can't make it to San Diego to do it live, and here they can present from wherever they're at.
But we didn't hear you say that. He's probably going, wait a second. I don't know much longer. Thank you, Mitchelle. Lord, please
don't listen to that.
Don't listen to Mitchelle. But you're right. We are finite, and who knows how much longer we will be able to personally.
I meant because he's going to win the lotto, and
that's what it is.
He's going to be on an island that doesn't have internet access.
He's still Franciscan. He'll never leave the community. Never. How fun. And can I ask you, this coming to FST and really taking this on as your brainchild, your baby, making this, you made masses
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You let me rephrase what I just said. You didn't make the Mass,
No.
but you were able to allow everybody who wanted to tune in to YouTube to celebrate the Mass with Father Garrett, with Father Joe, virtually when we were locked down, and even after when we couldn't go to Mass. So how was that for you, coming in and really just absorbing and making this your own?
I haven't really taken a lot of time to pause and think on that, but yeah, it was really a throw in, because like you said, I was here for 2 days, and then everybody left. I'm like, do I smell? Where'd everybody go? And then it wasn't a week later that Father Garrett was like, how are we going to get people to church? People
Right.
still want to hear.
Right.
They need this nourishment.
Connecting in a disconnected world.
Yeah. And I was like, hey, you got a camera? Well, hey, guess what? There's Best Buy. Let's go get the stuff we need and do it. And luckily, I was in a position where I'm not in a household with a lot of people, so I felt relatively safe to maintain a 6-foot distance and get the masks on and be separated from the people who were running the liturgy and the homily and all of that, and do it in a way that kept them safe, kept me safe, but got everything on recorded and up.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Our very first one was a really epic fail because I did it through a different means, and it was trial and error. And then I think the fourth one, I think we forgot to turn the mic on. And it was set up to later.
That's okay, because
but it was all fixed before Easter.
Place.
So yeah. By Easter we got it going, and then by Christmas, the people who were in that particular congregation where Father Joe and Father Garrett do Mass, I had been able to work with some of the people of that congregation who were semi-comfortable, semi-familiar with videography equipment and just the services or the Mass and how they ran and stuff. And so I was able to, I wouldn't say train, because they weren't trained, but taught, whatever. And they were able to continue on running the Mass, and then I just edit them afterwards so that the YouTube video, if any of you have ever watched those Masses, you'll notice that like the song, where now, since there are people there and they're passing the plate, I'm like, you don't need to listen to music being played while people pass a plate. So those are all cut out, and like the little random pauses. And so when you see Father Garrett like this, and then a second later he's like this.
That's why.
Yeah. I'm trimming him up a little bit so you can get the beef of what he's trying to say.
You did a good job though at making that available for everyone on YouTube. Yeah. And again, it's about that connection, and that's what, within the Franciscan charism, that's what it's about, right? It's about connecting people. It's about community. It's about finding the joy in every aspect of life. And then it's like, and so you bringing church to the people, and that was a wonderful thing. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, definitely. Yeah, because, well, it's very important because they are pastors at the Immaculate Conception in Old Town San Diego, and individuals, yes, we can go to the National Cathedral or USCCB or the Vatican, but we want to celebrate Mass with our community. And being, as you're mentioning, in Huntington Beach, the Franciscans are no longer pastoring St. Simon and Jude. I was going to say St. James, St. Leo, but they're right here with us in Solana Beach. So Simon and Jude, they're no longer there. So the people have been pastored by Franciscans for a very long time. And so we really want to celebrate with our community, which is very much of who we are. Makes us different from other schools of theology is the Franciscan lens, the Franciscan way of seeing the world, the Franciscan understanding of presence, and really experiencing God in the moment, and seeing Christ in the other, and all those things that are, you just may say it's just a saying. No, it's very real. And that the fact that we have a position and you fill the position and your job is relationship, it highlights that. That's pretty exciting.
One thing that's been interesting is that there's still like 118, 120 people on average that watch it every week, despite it still being present. And I don't monitor the analytics that well, but my understanding is some of it is people who, for example, that Father Joe had been their preacher for years ago and in a different location. And so those people who miss him and the way he does it are now watching from afar. In Arizona, for example, we have a Franciscan retreat center called the Casa, and there's lots of amazing services, and they've been doing things online for quite some time, and so they have the fancy equipment and good microphones and yada yada. But sometimes, you still miss those individuals, and so when Father Garrett would give a particular mass, a liturgy on something, people would tune in from other places, maybe also watching their own. I don't know, but they're watching this one because it's the people that they resonate with, that they can hear that message the best from, and it resonates with them for whatever reason. And I think that's been a really unanticipated, fortunate outcome.
Yeah, definitely. And there are people that are not able to leave their house for, even though now we're opened up again, we still have to be sensitive to the fact that there are people who are immune compromised. There are people who just really aren't comfortable. And, we don't want ever to keep them from the liturgy. So being able to have the virtual mass virtually is a blessing, and it's certainly not the same as being in person, but it's such a blessing. And then of course these lectures are just the beauty that you keep populating more. We keep can you give us an idea of some upcoming lectures?
Ooh. Yes. The inside scoop.
You heard it now, folks, on YouTube on June 17th, 2021. What does our upcoming lectures look like, Michelle?
Well, the one that's coming up literally in 2 weeks, July 1st, is Dr. C. Michael Weldon, OFM, preaching in a Franciscan key. So I talk about hot off the press, like he just gave us his intro just the other day.
Wonderful. Yeah. That sounds great.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty fancy.
And that's on July 1st, you said, correct?
July 1st.
It's my birthday. It's my birthday.
Yay! Happy
birthday. A beautiful day.
But the highlight of the summer, just a world-renowned author, Dr. Ilia Delio, OSF. She's just, that is really going to be a treat. Not that every other presenter of 2021 hasn't been amazing, but I'm going to talk about a time to tune in. That will be on August 12th.
Okay.
Thursday.
All right.
So that's a pretty big deal. And we had to move the date around. There's been kind of some symmetry to when we typically have had them, and we had to go off symmetry a little bit. But I can promise you it'll be worth it. And I'm excited to say it doesn't end there. we have started the fall lineup. So we're not pinning. I'm not going to give away all of our secrets of fall, but I will start. I will give a little hint to September 9th. It'll be a little short.
Which everybody who knows Franciscan anything knows Short. He is amazing, dynamic, and there's nothing you can hear from Brother Bill Short that isn't going to impact you and make a difference in the way you think, the way you feel, the way you are able to love our God. He's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and talk about finding beauty and joy in everything. It is Brother Bill. So
yeah, that's right. Right,
yes.
Right.
Aww. Yeah, he's so good. But you didn't hear from me.
No. You can keep a secret.
Yes. Well, it is going to be posted later on YouTube. So with that said, Michelle, a lot of times, and Christine, a lot of times individuals will watch our lives like after, right? And so we are going to save the live and make sure everyone has the information. So if individuals would like to sign up for lectures, and make sure that they are being informed and how to keep informed and being a part friends of FST, how would they go about that?
Excellent question. So the easiest way, well, there are a couple. We try to put everything out there, but probably the easiest way is to just register once. Because once you're registered once, that shows us that you're interested in the lecture series itself. And so we will add you to a list of every time that we're posting a new lecture. Regardless if you attended one a year ago or not, or every single one ever since, we will send you an emailing you the invite to the lecture. So you get that invite. If you don't open it up, not to worry. About a week later, we'll send it to you again. If you did open it up and you're like, this one isn't for me, I'm busy that day, whatever the case may be, you can just delete it and move on. You don't have to unsubscribe. Please don't unsubscribe, because the minute you unsubscribe, unfortunately, then you have to go digging. Then you got to dig a little deeper. And so to dig a little deeper, you can go to FST.edu and scroll all the way to the bottom of the page, although how that looks might change soon. But go to the news and events, and the news and events will list when the next lecture is. Wonderful. And I generally try to only put it out about 2 weeks prior, but because our lecturers are in such high demand, we're trying not to put it out too far. It's not like, the Bon Jovi tour where you can tell, yes, he's going to be in these cities for the next year. Like, we have to give a curtail of time, and we want to give them the most opportunity to pick the lecture that's going to be the most relevant. So even though sometimes the topics are something about 12,009, they make it so relevant to today that they don't want to give us the title of the lecture too early. So that's some of why we don't promote it until 2 weeks prior. And so 2 weeks prior, it'll be posted to our FST.edu news and events. You can go there, you click on the registration to link, the link to register. And then the day of the lecture, I'm going to give a little behind the scenes secret here. And hopefully all those evil spamming phishing people aren't watching. We don't give the link back out to the individual link to the lecture till the day of. Okay. And that is specifically to avoid Zoom bombers. We've been so fortunate. I am knocking on every piece of wood I have that none of our lectures have been at all sabotaged in any way, shape, or form, which most of my higher ed colleagues have not had that same luck. They've had some really bad stories of people just doing horrible things, especially in our religious environment. We're a prime target for people to just be sick and mean. And so luckily we've been able to have clean presentations. And I think a lot of it is because we don't release that link until the day of. It does make people who are planners a little edgy. It's like when you're getting ready to go to that birthday party and you only get the address an hour beforehand and you put it in your Zoom, like, how am I going to get there?
And it's an hour and a half away.
Yeah. So I do get it out by noon or 7 hours prior. I won't say noon because depending on what time zone you're in, that's not accurate. But 7 hours prior, you get the lecture link. And so you know where you're going to be going. And then you just click that link and there you are. And so then you follow along. And then if for whatever reason, dinner went a little long for you and you missed it, it's about a week and a half later. I will have gone through the video, edited it, cleaned it up, gotten rid of any long pauses, or if the presenter has a slide that gets stuck, and taking out the little stuck part. So it's generally a pretty efficient. It's about 35 to 40 minute video with a very brief intro and exit. And that goes up, like I said, about a week and a half later. Some people, they've texted me the next day, hey, where's the video? I'm like, I'm not that good. This takes a little time. And so edit it up and get it up there for people to watch forever.
That's wonderful.
One of the things that we've been able to do is to share the link or the link to actually register and see what it is you've got going on with the parishes around San Diego. And in fact, I have some dioceses throughout the United States where the pastors have said, give me the information. I'm going to share it with my congregation, because these are for everybody. So we are a graduate school of theology. And as I mentioned in the beginning, of course, you have to be able to qualify for graduate studies, but there are so many people who aren't really interested in graduate studies, but are pining to go deeper. And this is for you. This is for everybody, whether you are looking for that deep academia or whether you just want to be fed more. This is for everyone. So if anybody's watching us from any of the parishes, if you're in religious education, this is for your congregation. This is for helping us, as Michelle's mentioned, there are lectures on scripture. There are lectures on the Psalms, on Genesis. I mean, we could go. There's beautiful lectures on scripture. There's lectures on Christology, on humanism, on Vatican documents. There are just so many, or encyclicals, so many wonderful things about our Pope and his Franciscan bent. Well, do you want to hear about that? Do you want to learn about that? So the courses some are a little heavier, and some of them are not. They're a little more lighthearted about icons and really how the beautiful icons have really helped us to know about Francis, but also have perpetuated and carried us through the millennia in our faith life and our spiritual growth. So there's so much to be had in these lectures, and we only have like 50 up on YouTube. So to think that, you've only done this in a year and a half, to think what we'll have in another year and a half is really exciting. But if you're out there, I do try to send it. I send it via email, but it bounces. It doesn't get open because our inboxes are full. So please, if you're involved in any religious education or you have a Bible study group that you'd like to share this with a small faith community, I think probably the best thing at this point is, Michelle, how can they get a hold of you? Can you give them other than the website? Is that the FST.edu? And
that's a great way. But if they want to develop and they want to be developed, they can develop at FST.edu, and that email will come directly to me. Development at FST.edu, and my email address. I'm open all the time. I mean, we all have it.
Yes.
Emails everywhere. So I'm pretty prompt to reply. Yeah. Pretty prompt to reply. Get you connected. Another way to stay connected, if 7 p.m. Thursday nights Pacific time is not the best time for you and you really are just going to watch the replay, that's perfectly fine. And you should subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you subscribe, the subscriptions you get notified as a subscriber saying, hey, there's a new video waiting for you. And it'll just pop right into that email box. Now, that does mean you have to look at the email.
Right. Yeah, that's the difficult. So
that is the hard part, but
we're sending it to you. But if you haven't already got it, please reach out, development at FST.edu. Go to our website, or those of you who have my email address, my contact information, let us know. We'll get you the YouTube channel. And the YouTube channel, did you just say it and I missed it? FST.
FST.edu.
Gigi will put it on the bottom.
Yep, FST.edu 1. We're trying to make it as easy as possible. We're number one.
Absolutely. So that kind of brings me to our next point for both of you. And earlier on, Christine, you had talked about relationships and seeing each other, right? Seeing one another. And Michelle, you had mentioned something this week when we were working together is, finding that joy and beauty with the alumni, right? And you have the wonderful chance and opportunity to interview alumni and talk to individuals and be able to share their stories and share their experiences and and see what they do through their lens. I really wanted to kind of, as we'll wrap up our live on YouTube, but I want to talk about alumni. I want to say, because it is all about the story, right? At the end of the day, it's about connecting people. It's about bringing that joy, find true and perfect joy. And how do we do so? That's with people and relationships and really it's about their servant's heart and finding their path. And it's like you get to be that first and front person to that with working with alumni. Talk to us about that. Tell us how, like, talk to us about maybe a couple, what you do with alumni and how you help bring them to everyone else to know about them.
I think to start that, I'm going to actually go back for myself personally. I have a master's in education, and my master's degree in education, it really prepared me to work in higher ed and get to know students and where they were coming from. What was their main drive? What was that value that was hidden underneath them that they graduated 18 from high school and then were like, okay, what am I doing? Because they had all this formative time for somebody in an institution to tell them, if you want to go to the restroom, you stand in line, you raise your hand, the teacher calls on you, you do, this is how you live your life. And then you turn 18 and it's just like, oh, all those things we've told you, go make something of it. Go do something with those values. And so they go off to college in their undergraduate years, or they go into life and they find out what that means. And then they test it, and they test it some more, and then they test it some more. A lot of those people, they find that where their heart lies is in joy, is in the joy of stewardship, the joy of the gospel, the joy of helping those impoverished, the joy of social justice, that social justice work that is so hard to do and can bring so many people down. But if you have a joy for it, that fosters that, but how? And that's when, wait, she finds you. And I think that's one of the amazing things about FST is that we are an intimate school. It's a small space. I personally came to FST after having served 25 years in higher ed at Tier 1, Research 1 institutions. And so having worked with Nobel laureates and physicists and just all sorts of higher education people who had found their joy in very specific parts, but those undergraduate students, it takes a little while. It takes a while to go through that 4, 5, 6 year education and then come out and go, what am I going to do with this? I love physics. And now what? How do I apply that outside of the classroom? How do I apply that to my career, but more importantly, my work-life balance? And fortunately, hundreds of those people have found their way to us. And so then when they are with us for their time period, getting their master's in theological studies, their master's in divinity, whatever it is they're acquiring while they're here, then they take that knowledge they had from that undergraduate life where they were just discovering what skill they might be good at, and now applying values to it, applying clarification as to who they're going to be with that degree. And then they come back and tell us their stories. And their stories are so captivating. So one of the advantages that I have is that I get to not only do the interview, but then I get to summarize their story and put it into a newsletter. And so that newsletter goes out once every other month. And I tell you, if I could, I would put them out every week. but there's something, apparently there's other parts to my job.
Time consuming.
Whatever. And so we put them out every other month. And in those newsletters, it gives the alumni profile of the story that they're willing to share. And I feel like I'm always picking on her, but Mary Gwendolyn Eve, she was one of my first and one of my favorite. She's an amazing woman. She lives in Northern California. She had an entire career completed, done. She was retired from it in accounting. She got there through, as many people in their life story, you were going this direction, you went this direction, married, kids, health issues, marital issues, all these different things happening in her life. And always knew that there was something bigger she was meant for, something that she fostered in her children, but she knew she could do more. And she just wanted to share that value with others and couldn't find the venue to do it. She was an accountant. What was she going to do in accounting? Right. And oh, Christine, I found my joy. Help me. And wound up in school at FST. And at that time we were in Berkeley. She in her 60s, got on a trained over to the Bay Area, found an apartment, a flat to share with another lady, and stayed there 4 days a week, and then went back to be with her family and did her weekend stuff. And she did that for years to get her degree, and then worked for another 10 years after retirement as a hospice chaplain.
Oh my goodness.
And that's where she found her joy. That's what she'd been needing to do. She'd already raised her children. She'd done the stuff that she wanted to do in the way she wanted to do, but she wanted to continue more. She didn't want to just grab a colada and sit on a beach in Cozumel. She could have done that. She could have, there's a million things you can do in retirement. But when we're finding our retired people they still got full of life. There's lots to do. They just don't want to sit behind a desk and do it anymore. And that she was a beautiful story of that. And then you have on the flip side, we have Nicole Karuba, who, oh my gosh, Spitfire, undergrad, done. Master's degree, done. Now what? Like she was just ready to go. And she knew she needed to be somewhere where she could spread some more joy. She was really about social justice.
Isn't her undergraduate in science?
Yes.
Nicole,
yes.
Yeah. So she was able to merge because they go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm. And then she found herself at Mills College in Northern California, an all-women's school, and she's teaching. She's teaching there now. With this as her background, this is her way to interact with the students, to build relations, to how to foster that. I mean, and the stories go on. And you can actually find several of the stories on our website, FST.edu. Click alumni, go to alumni stories, and they're blocked up there. I don't have every story up there. It's mostly like just from the last year or so. But as you can know, we've been around for a million years. And so there's lots of alumni stories. And we're trying to do them every other month. So they're going to continue to populate. But I can't. I think, okay, maybe this is just telling of me being a little sappy and all, or maybe it was COVID. I'm going to blame it on COVID. That's what we'll do. We'll blame it on COVID.
Okay.
I think there was maybe one interview that I did that I didn't cry. Because everybody else, I was just like, oh my God, that was beautiful. That's the things that they have discovered about themselves during their experience at FST. And these are people that graduated last year, people who graduated 2 decades ago, that they're still reflecting on this experience and going,
it's transformative. That really is what I tell everybody is, because I know it to be true personally, because I know so many people who know it to be true personally. I've witnessed it. We've witnessed it. You never come in the same person you graduate. And then it doesn't stop transforming you, because it is love. And that is really the truth. It is love. And so stop it.
Okay, maybe it is just me.
So anyway, what I was trying to say without being sappy is that it's transformative. And the exciting thing is just within yourself, watching it happen, seeing it happen. And you don't have to say anything, because everybody around you sees it. It's the different way in which you view life. It's the different way in which you view your sufferings, your struggles. We are going to suffer and struggle, but we suffer and struggle differently when we're filled with faith. And then we're prepared to walk suffering, walk struggle, walk trials, tribulations, and be able to go back to that finding joy, rejoicing in our trials and tribulations, and in those with others, because we are illuminated into the big picture, right? So it's exciting, and you get to experiencing that firsthand, talk to the people. I think that's one thing that I truly miss about us being on campus, is that I love, virtual, we've done a great job with Zoom. It's so exciting to be able to see your face and talk to you. But to sit down and have lunch with you, have dinner with you, chat over a cup of coffee, and hear which the students, we become friends. We become relational here, right? And as they go through their studies, to hear about their challenges, classes that are stumping them and really making them go, and then other classes that are just igniting their soul and transforming them, right? And then when they graduate, being able, especially Gigi, because you're so much into social media, being able to see what people are doing. That's where, the proof is in the pudding. When people ask me, what do you do with this degree? Oh my gosh, anything you want, really, because you can't separate God from life. And that's the whole point.
It's wise words.
Right. It's Monday through Sunday. It's life is connected. How do you connect that Sunday to everything you do? It doesn't matter if you're a business owner or you're a theology professor. You connect. Or we're a seminary too. You're a priest. You connect Monday through Sunday. Every moment is God's, and we give it back to Him.
Yeah. And another thing too, Michelle, about like the alumni stories, that's by having those alumni stories and you being being there with them and helping those stories get out, that's now helping other individuals learn about the Franciscan School of Theology and seeing them a part of our community and helping them understand, okay, what next? What can I do? How can I be involved? How could I even be a Friends of FST? And we have something for everyone, whether it be a degree, our continuing education summer program, whether it be our lectures, whether it be just events that we have and connecting or collaborating. It's like, I think we've talked about it, transformative and then also communal, right? It's all about that communal.
Yeah. And if you're interested in sharing your story with Michelle, contact her at
Develop.
Develop
Develop at FST.edu. Develop at FST.edu. And I'm going to give everybody 2 extra little inside scoops. If you haven't read through all the alumni profiles, there are 2 that completely resonate with everything Christine just said. Michael Brown, want to talk about transformative story that brought joy out of insane hardship, just insane.
An amazing man.
And then what Gigi just said, yes, amazing. And then what Gigi just said about it doesn't matter what business you're in or how you're working, there's ways that this all applies. Paul Vieira, chocolatier, it applies everywhere. Read those stories. Alumni profiles.
And I'm just so happy that we all three. Why did it take us so long for all 3 of us to go live? That's what I
feel. Your enthusiasm's contagious.
I love that, like, we're bringing us together. And again, I'm glad we stuck on the topic of like joy, right? Perfect joy. And then how FST brings that joy to the communities and through different channels, whatever that channel may be. And I love that we also talked about future events that are coming in development of our lectures. So you talked about our July 1st date. Again, tell us who the lecture is on July 1st.
Michael Weldon, Dr. Michael Weldon.
Okay, so tune in, folks, for that. And then, Christine, we have an event coming up next week, I believe, on Thursday. What do we have going on?
Yes, on Thursday, 2:00 Pacific Standard Time, or I don't know if we're Pacific Daylight Time right now, but here on the West Coast, we have our virtual information session. It is virtual, so adjust it for the time where you're at. We are going to focus on the Masters of Divinity. So we have Dr. Maureen Day, who is joining us to really parse that open. It was a great hit. She joined us back in April and really focused on the Master of Divinity and what makes it different from the other degrees, what are the similarities, and really, what does it look like to be a student in the Masters of Divinity program, and what are you going to do with this degree? But we have a really special guest joining her that will just catapult her talk, and that is Matthew Vasquez. Matthew is a diocesan seminarian, here in San Diego. And Matthew is really excited to share his experience with FST. And one of the things that we have that is quite unique and really special is the fact that we are a seminary and we educate laymen and women. And he is going to talk about that. What's it like in a classroom where he is the seminarian with individuals who are friars, discerning the priesthood, possibly not discerning the priesthood, and that will continue in the religious life, religious sisters who have joined from other congregations, and the lay people. We're about a 30-70 split. So we got about 70% lay men and women, and then about 30% of religious seminarians and friars and religious sisters. So the dynamics in the classroom are really where the learning takes place. And everybody's bringing, as you pointed out, Michelle, their lived experience, their education, their past education, their past professional life, the fact that they're married, they're single, they're divorced, they're whatever. We bring it to the classroom, and it's part of our learning of theology. It's part of our living and learning. So he's going to talk about that, and they're there for questions. So of course, I could not let a moment pass without inviting you all to attend so I can share with you how to become a part of the action. Tell you we've got about a month left of the application window. So if you are considering fall for the possibility, that's August 30th is when we start, of graduate studies in theology. You want to join us? Your application fee is waived if you join us. So your $50 application fee is waived. But most importantly, you'll really understand what this degree program's about. You'll know what it's like to be a student, get a good feel for it. And then I can tell you about the application process and financial aid, which is everybody's favorite topic because we have amazing benefactors who are here to help all of our students make this a reality.
Wonderful. And go ahead, Michelle.
Just one little commercial add-on for what Christine was saying of your, whether you're single, married, younger or older, whatever, the diversity in this community is tremendous. So I can't express that sufficiently. As a Latino woman in this space, I have been so welcomed and comfortable at every moment of the game, as have the alumni that I've spoken with. But diversity in all areas.
Yeah, we have students who have been in their I have to say now mid to late 70s, because when the person I'm thinking about joined us, he was 73, and he came for one class and he continued and continued and continued, and he has been an amazing asset, wonderful to have in the classroom. We have students who are in their early 20s, right out of college. So the average age of our students is somewhere around 40, and it shifts. But the idea being, like you're saying, we've got every age group. We've got nationalities that are all over. We have people, I think 21 countries in the world have sent students. We've had students from 21 countries in the world. And now that we're offering the Master of Theological Studies Franciscan Theology online, that's going to open up the Franciscan education to all of you who aren't local, who are sitting in your seats going, how do I get this? How do I get to be part of the Franciscan community? And that is our Masters of Theological Studies Franciscan Theology, which will be offered online beginning September 7th. And enrollment, you can actually enroll through, I believe it's the 12th of August is their deadline. It's later than ours. Ours is the 15th of July for the on-campus degrees, and the online degree, it is August 12th. So we're here to help you, and Michelle is here to give you all kinds of great information just to continue you through your life.
Michelle's going to help keep on developing.
Yay, development.
Yay, development. Well, thank you so much. Christine, I put your number up for anybody that has questions. They can reach you. And I just wanted to thank you both for joining in our live on YouTube. We're going to do it again. It's going to be fun. We're going to keep on talking about different topics and things that we could bring that we do at FST and sharing that with the world, because that's what it's about. It's about pushing that mission forward. And I'm very proud to say that I work with the two of the most amazing people that I know. And
Right back at you.
Exactly. Right back at you.
I'm honored, and thank you so much for your time today and your energy and your joy. Thank you for sharing your joy. Okay.
Amen. Amen. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Off to another meeting.
Yes.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye.